the Spartans. They were one of the bravest warriors history has ever seen. Their only duty, and what they did best, was to fight. Their struggle began the day they were born. Male infants born unhealthy were abandoned to die, as it was believed they were being returned to nature. Those who survived were taken from their families at the age of 7 and underwent rigorous military training until they were 18. This small people, living in part of present-day Greece, had challenged an empire hundreds of times larger than themselves, the Persian Empire. The Persians were undeniably the largest and most powerful empire of that era. The empire's borders encompassed all of present-day Turkey and Iran, and North Africa. However, these vast territories were not enough for the Persians, and now they wanted to expand towards Europe. The first obstacle in their way was the small Greek city-states. The Persians sent a separate envoy to each city-state demanding their surrender. However, no agreement was reached. And with the assassination of the envoy by the Spartans, war between the two sides became inevitable. The Persians set out with the largest army history had ever seen, numbering in the hundreds of thousands. According to the historian Herodotus, the army was so large that it dried up the rivers it passed through. The army included soldiers from 46 different nations, archers, elephants, magicians, and 10,000 elite soldiers of that era. As soon as King Leonidas of Sparta received the news, he left the majority of his army behind to protect Sparta and set out with his best 300 men to confront the Persians. The Spartans had a plan: to be the first to reach the Thermopylae pass. This way, they could fight face to face in this narrow pass, and the Persians' numerical superiority would be lost. Finally, the two armies met at Thermopylae, exactly as Leonidas wanted. On one side, 300,000 men. On the other, 300. The Persians, thinking these 300 men were decoys and that the real enemy would appear during the battle, did not attack for 4 days. However, the Spartans, with their psychology of protecting their country, could wait for them for months. On the 5th day, a rain of arrows began, but the Persians were unsuccessful. The Persian army began its attack with groups of 10,000 men. Facing them were 300 men in a phalanx formation, each carrying 30 kilograms of armor. This meant they were up against a formidable wall 15 meters long and weighing 9 tons, which was impossible to breach. After some time, the Persians who had arrived from behind were forced to fight over their own dead and retreated. The Spartans had won the first battle against tens of thousands of Persians with almost no losses. Xerxes, the 16th Persian king, finally understood that the Spartans were the most elite soldiers in Greek history.
Prepare for glory! Show these Greeks the true might of Persia! Attack!
And decided to deploy his own special army, the Immortals. The Immortals numbered 10,000 men, and unlike other units, were a world-renowned special military unit selected exclusively from Iranians. Finally, the two most elite military units in history faced each other. This time, the Spartans' task was not as easy as the first time. When the Immortals attacked, the Spartans simultaneously defended with their shields and attacked with their spears. Spartan spears pierced the Immortals' shields like paper. Although the Immortals' front line was already dead, the Spartan phalanx formation was also broken. With their lines broken, the Spartans abandoned their spears and switched to sword fighting. No one hid behind shields anymore. Everyone was looking for someone to kill. The Spartan numbers were dwindling. The Persians, unable to risk losing 10,000 Immortals for 300 men, ordered a retreat. The Immortals, who had struck fear into the world, had failed against the Spartans. Up until now, all geographical conditions were in favor of the Spartans, but the next day everything changed. A local man, for money, had taught the Persians the secret path leading behind the Spartans, and the Immortals had set out to surround them. The Spartans were aware of this and began preparing for one last battle. According to the Persian scouts, that night the Spartans had cleaned themselves and their weapons, combed their hair, and prepared as if for their own funeral. Soon the Persians surrounded them, and the bloodiest battle of the war began. The Spartans had nothing left to lose. They were no longer fighting to live, but to kill as many soldiers as they could. Leonidas fell with a spear blow, and the next battle was between the Spartans who wanted to protect his body and the Persians. Now only a few Spartans remained. Xerxes delivered the final blow by ordering his archers to attack. The war was over, and the 300 Spartans, taking 10,000 Persians with them, wrote their names in history with this superhuman struggle.